Reggilar show. And special guest star Jerse.
Jerse.
He'll be joining us today.
For a very special topic.
We were talking about doing a retro review, Fire Emblem Awakening, which was awesome.
So retro.
Jerse, go.
Oh, Fire Emblem Awakening, pretty good. Like that game.
All right.
So we know where he stands.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
Let's see. No.
But it's out of the Fire Emblem games. It's probably up in my top three. Probably at the third spot.
Why?
Why?
The story needs a little something to desire.
Okay.
I feel like it could have been fleshed out a little bit more.
It is a pretty generic Fire Emblem story.
I mean, that is like, it wasn't anything special for the Fire Emblem story based, but for gameplay wise, it was actually really interesting, with the whole multi-tier character or multi-class characters. I like the bringing back of the children element for genealogy.
Which we've all played.
Except we haven't.
We know of it, though. We know that that's what happens in it.
Yeah.
So,
they make babies.
They do.
Babies are
Babies
made.
are... making babies is actually a really big mechanic of the film, of the game.
Right. Yeah. In genealogy, it was more like an actual time progression. In this, it's Terminator, basically.
Come from the future.
All of the babies come back from the future.
All the
I guess
babies come back from the future.
Let's focus on the story as to why, because it felt like the hero in this game was a little more generic. Chrom.
He was very Marthian.
I actually I don't think Chrom was super Marthian myself. Actually, like, I'm not saying he's like the bestest lord ever, but I felt like he had a fair amount of personality in his support conversations and stuff like that. I mean, I can kind of see why people would follow Chrom, possibly. Whereas Marth is just kind of a cipher, he's just sort of, or Roy or whatever. I don't think he's one of the stronger lords, but I think he's okay. He's fine.
I felt like Chrom was like the middling between Ike and a more lordy lord.
Lordy lord.
That's a good way to put it.
Like
yeah.
Marth.
Like Marth, yeah.
Marth and I.
Marth
have
and
a baby.
yeah.
And
Marth and
Well,
I
because
have a baby. He's
there's
still got the blue hair, so it works.
Yeah.
Because he is much more, I guess, more, especially this fighting style, is more badass and like throwing a sword.
Yeah.
Like that.
He does have Aether, which is Ike's move.
Right.
But he's using Marth's sword. So
But it's an apt description.
On your thing, why would you said you kind of felt he was more Marthian.
Marthian.
Because I'm like middle.
Because I do feel sort of like it's like, I am the good guy, I'm always good, I do the good thing. Which, I mean, a lot of the lords fall into that pitfall in the Fire Emblem universe. They're not very...
Ike's the one of the few that doesn't.
That's one of the, I think, that maybe could be applied more to the kind of generic story Awakening has, too. Because I don't think he really has any potential to go outside that. I think because it's very much Chrom is prince, then bad guy is there, then a family member dies, then there's Shadow Dragon, or just whatever giant thing they want you to fight at the end. And the only thing different from a standard Fire Emblem is really the Terminator aspect, and that it's the kids.
With the Terminator aspect, one thing that didn't make a lot of sense for me is that a lot of those children weren't even born yet during the actual game, but then how far into the future had those events happened? Because depending on who parented who, a lot of those kids are a really odd age.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because Muriel's child is supposed to be older than Lucina, but he hasn't been born yet.
I interpreted it as kind of a DBZ Trunks thing, where there was like a period where the post-apocalyptic future started, but they didn't all die at once. Like,
Yeah,
it's sort of like a progression.
it's a progression.
But it was
I
obviously
understand
weird
that.
ages in terms of when.
I mean, they opened up a big can of worms with the time warp thing.
Well, yeah, they did that.
That's how they shoehorned in, all these old people from the past in the DLCs.
Yeah.
And it fucked up any sort of, if you wanted to make a timeline on a Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
There's no way now. So
there's no way to tell what is or is not canon within the game, really, in terms of, like, is Priam canon? Like, I don't know, like, are they implying that the Ike and Marth universes are the same universe. I don't know, because they imply it in a couple...
the universe is the same universe?
I mean, I don't think they can't be, I guess, but that would probably be discussion for another day. But what about in terms of the gameplay?
Gameplay's pretty solid. I did enjoy the fact, the whole... They broadened the skill tree thing, or not tree, but the skill sets from Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn.
They made them a lot better.
Yeah, they did.
Easier to understand for me to use.
Yeah, they're a lot easier to understand, they're a lot easier to use, and they... you can mix and match them a lot easier because you can actually... each class learns a specific set of skills that you can then, when you class change them into their other class, they can retain.
Right.
So you can have, like, a Berserker with Astra, which is always fun.
And I knew this is something that was immensely fun for KJ, was breeding people to give
them specific skills.
Yeah,
what was the one you bred
the
an
sperm
entire
theory.
The sperm. Well, it's not sperm theory. It's sperm fact.
Oh, sperm
Basically,
fact.
it's like so. At first, the first time you're going to play through the game, you're going to do pairings that you like. It's going to be more natural.
For more of a like a story line.
Right.
Like, do you want to see what these characters
And
each
then the second playthrough they become Pokemon.
Right. Each person is going to pass down different kinds of growth rates for stats, stat caps, so on and so forth. So eventually, if you go down the rabbit hole, you're going to literally be like breeding these people together in order to get the best, and it's pretty creepy. Because I was like, ugh. There were some things I wouldn't do. Because one of the people that can have a kid is a dragon, but she looks like a 12-year-old. It's really weird.
But now,
now he looks like a 12-year-old.
Rickon is 12 years old.
Rickon is 12 years old, and you also got some furries.
Yeah.
But you can do all kinds of weird stuff. You can be like best friends with Crom, and then he gets married to someone, and then Lucina is born, and then Lucina from the future, you can have children with her, which I don't know how that works.
You
because you can get married to them if you're male, or it's. I thought that was the most enjoyable aspect of the game. I mean, obviously it's been done before in Genealogy, but I really liked. I like the way it was handled. I like that aspect of the game. Other than that, though, in terms of basically the skills and the breeding mechanics, I thought it was a pretty standard Fire Emblem game.
Yeah.
Other than that,
I mean, go ahead.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna mention gripes, quote unquote, my gripe was probably art style.
Okay.
Because again, the art style itself, I was okay with in any of like the cutscenes and stuff when they look like normal people, but when they're fighting, they look like normal people up into their waistline, and then they have midget legs.
They have peg legs.
No, they do. They literally have peg legs. They don't actually have like feet, technically.
Star Fox theory, man.
Yeah.
Cut off.
And so whenever they do like in-game cutscenes and people are running around, it's like fucking unnatural.
I wonder if that's a Nintendo thing, because that was bothering me in Pokemon. I felt like my guy had tiny toothpick legs.
Well, they're trying to change the thing to be more anime-like to get a broader audience, which they did.
Yeah.
And I will say that while this game doesn't take itself as seriously as other Fire Emblems did, especially with storyline and all this other stuff, because with the mixing up the generations and everything with the timeline, I felt like mechanically, game mechanics, this game took itself very seriously and actually streamlined the series and brought it to a new generation very well.
Yep.
One thing I hate is the option to turn off
Permadeath.
I will not even get into that because that's something
discussed this.
I
I don't
really
care. He cares.
This is something I cannot. So I'm not.
Sean
even
doesn't like it
it
when other people play with his toys, as we've discussed.
Yes, I am a.
He doesn't
Nintendo
want the filthy
ambassador.
casuals coming.
Look, these kids. Okay, anyway, I'm not gonna get into this. All right,
These
anyway,
kids.
I can't not even get to this. So,
Get off my lawn.
We'll talk about that
but,
later.
the thing I was gonna say is like the combination system. Fire Emblem's been known for like throwing away and taking new things from each generation, but the combination system, battle mechanics were a lot better. just moving things on the map.
I will say this has the best 3D animations of any of the 3D games.
That is.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Even though the models are creepy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the ones in Path of Radiance, Radiant Dawn were piss.
But-
So not a ton of competition, and Shadow Dragon was awful. So
but they've taken the series in a good direction with this one.
I'm happy with it, and I think one of the reasons that we wanted to do and talk about the game was because we all like the game a lot,
Right.
and the Awakening got totally snubbed at the VGX.
It did.
I
VGX. What the fuck? VGX?
Because it's a very, well-known,
Right,
established,
right. And
highly
so I'm like,
established.
highly
because,
established.
it came out in the last year, except everything in VGX came out in the last, 4 months.
Right.
But
I
that's
beside the
think
point.
I don't know if you guys wanted to
it's the
because
best-selling Fire Emblem for a reason.
Link Between Worlds, won for best handheld. And do you guys think that Awakening is a better game than that?
No.
I
No.
do.
No, got that backwards in my head. Awakening is better than...
Yeah. I thought it was a fairly exceptional Awakening, or not an Awakening, but Fire Emblem game, whereas Link Between Worlds was pretty
Mediocre.
so.
Right. This is a good one to start the series.
Oh
off
yeah,
with,
definitely.
If this is your first one, that's why it's. I don't know. Nintendo did a good job. Of it.
Yeah. But it looks like we're out of time.
Out of time.
Out of
We
time.
all highly established recommend it.
There we go.
Yeah.
Gotta end it with something nobody would understand.
They threw me off.